Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to tonight's X39 stem cell activation and LifeWave patch science and technology Zoom. My name is Dr. Staci Howeger, and I'm going to be sharing with you all tonight how the LifeWave stem cell activation patches and the other patches work, what they can do for you and others that you can, of course, help with these patches as well too. But then also I'm going to be able to allow you to ask your questions in the chat here in just a little bit. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes explaining science and technology for you, kind of going over the frequently asked questions, and then be able to answer your more specific questions. But I do want to let you know that tonight's information is for information only. I am not your doctor, so you will definitely want to check with your doctor if you have specific questions about your health concerns or needs. The information that I'm sharing tonight is information again. And of course, if you're pregnant, nursing, on medications or anything, check with your practitioner as well. We're not intending to treat, cure, or diagnose anything that's going on with you. So with that being said, I want to talk to you about LifeWave. I'm so excited. And I know each week I come here and I share with you the science and tech, and pretty much for the most part, it's the same information over and over again. I kind of go in the same order. But so for some reason tonight, I feel like I want to mix it up a little bit for you guys. And so I want to share with you the beginning of LifeWave. And I kind of always talk a little bit about this, but I really want you to understand that this is not new. So if you're watching this live or if you're watching the recording, LifeWave is not a new company. Believe it or not, it's 20 years old. 20 years. So you may be just hearing about it. And people say, well, if it's been around 20 years, why have I never heard about it before? Well, honestly, the technology got started with athletes and with the rodeo, with horses, and it very quickly spread into Asia. And most of our market has been primarily in Asia over the last 20 years. And just since the launch of the X39 stem cell activation patch, which I'll be talking about here in just a second, has the United States really started to take off the last about 4.5 years, almost 5 years since that patch was released. So let's talk about the beginning. David Schmidt is the inventor of this technology. This is the first patch that he invented. And I don't talk a lot about energy enhancer. I love it. It's a fantastic patch. But sometimes I kind of have to skip over it because they're more pressing issues, right? But I know energy is mostly an issue for people. And of course, sometimes X39 covers that. But why did David start this company? Like, why did he invent this patch to begin with? Well, he was working for the Navy SEALs. His company that he and his buddies had created was contracted by the U.S. Department of Defense. And they were working on the mini sub missions with the SEALs, helping with survival equipment. And he was asked to contribute something to the problem the SEALs were having with their amphetamines, caffeine, uppers, all the stuff they were on to try to help with energy and stamina and endurance. They would go on missions for days and weeks on end, right? And so their quality of life was down the tubes. So David was downloaded, and I mean downloaded by God, by the divine, the idea to create a non-transdermal patch that triggered beta oxidation. That's the energy enhancer. Beta oxidation means turns body fat into fuel. I don't know who couldn't use that. Anybody want to turn some body fat into fuel? So this is a beautiful side effect of our energy enhancer, is it actually burns an extra 300 to 600 calories per day. That's beautiful. I don't know about you, but sign me up for an extra 300 to 600 calories gone a day for using the patch. So this is a 2-patch system, meaning that you need 2 patches in order for this to work. The white patch goes on the right side of the body, the tan patch goes on the left. I want to show you the instruction booklet. Every patch comes with an instruction booklet with the acupuncture points to apply the patch in order for, our clinical studies we had to have, and I'll talk about the studies, but in order to have, a clinical study be real and legit, you have to have controlled situations. So the participants in the studies over the weeks and the months and the years they were using them were using in specific locations. So energy enhancer, you can see white right, tan left. You see that guy right there? He looks like a Navy SEAL. I think he does. Look at his body. That's what SEALs look like, right? So white right, tan left. Fun fact, if you have anything lung going on, any congestion, phlegm, anything like that. You put the energy enhancers on this lung point, that's going to help to get rid of that. Andrea likes that. I know I do too, right? So sign me up for that. So this spot, any spot you use is perfectly fine to increase energy in your body, but this spot here specifically for those of you that have any long hauler symptoms, you know, things lingering left over, definitely use the points. They're right here on the body, okay? 2 patches. So that was going fantastic for the SEALs. Well, guess what happened in 9/11? If you're here in the United States, you know what happened with the World Trade Center. Of course, the U.S. Department of Defense pulled out of the mini sub mission they were on and aborted the project with the SEALs and went to bear more arms and protect our country. So David thought, this was really good. That was working great for the SEALs. I think I'm going to get a hold of the Stanford University swim team's coach. He was friends with him, and see if we can do some clinical studies with people to actually prove what was happening. And so he spent 2 years with the Stanford swim team's coach, working with them to use this patch and proving that it actually triggered beta oxidation, increases the mitochondria, the ATP in the cells, and turns over the lymphatic system, you know, burns that 300 to 600 calories. Of course, then the USA Olympic swim team got a hold of it. I'm sure you remember the Olympics back in 2000, I think it was 8 or 9. There was a huge controversy. I remember my mom and dad reading the newspaper, and there was all in the news, all over TV. The USA swept the gold, but they're not for sure if they really did, because they could be putting something in the body. I'm bringing you to a key point here. They were concerned because it's against the Olympic, you know, the rules, their guidelines. You cannot put something into the body in order to have an upper edge or advantage over other participants. So they did all their studies. The USA Olympic Board, right, did the World Global, I don't know, whoever you call them. They did all their studies, and they said absolutely not. Nothing was entering the body. This is completely acceptable to use in the Olympics, and the USA swept the gold. So what does that tell you right there? Right? Well, Audrell, I think it's Audrell, she's loving this. I'm loving this too. So what does that mean? Okay, so that means, that leads me to what we're talking about here. David Schmidt started his company LifeWave after those 2 years of clinical studies. Over the last 20 years, he's invented a dozen different patches. Now, I'm not going to go over every single patch tonight, of course. You may ask me some questions later, and something may pop up, different patches or whatnot. But all of the patches are the same in that they are non-transdermal, which means, much like the Olympic board found, there's nothing entering the body. This is what the patch looks like. I just literally unwrapped one, sticky on one side, not on the other. Okay, you can see I have one right here. This is my Eon, to make sure that I'm eliminating any inflammation in my body, of course, but specifically anything that may be here if there was a red tide or something like that, right? So all patches are the same. They look the same. They all are going to be non-transdermal, nothing coming in the body, but they all signal different peptides. How is that happening? If nothing's going in the body, how are these patches doing what they're doing? So you can see this patch that I have on. When you apply the patch to your body's heat that you emit, we emit body heat. We know that. You sit next to somebody and you're like, oh my God, you're hot. Get away from me. Or sometimes you're like, oh my God, I'm freezing. Get near me. I want to heat up with your body heat, right? So that heat or light that we emit, that low level infrared light, is what this patch is communicating with. So right now I live in Florida on the East Coast. It's dark outside right now. That's why I have my selfie ring, my light on. I'm trying to like make sure you guys don't see that reflection in my screen here on my glasses. But that light that our body emits, if I was to go outside right now, I could look through night vision goggles and see the deer and the boar and the panther, or whatever else is out there right now, from the heat or light that's being emitted from the body. That's what this is working with. Okay, so keep that in mind. So in the morning, I get up and I'm going to put on my X39. Okay, I'm going to put it on the back of my neck. I'm going to put it below my belly button. Why one of those two spots? Well, Remember I said we have clinical studies. David has done over 90 clinical studies. He and many other doctors around the globe have done these clinical studies over the last 20 years. You can go to a website. It's startx39now.com. I'm sure somebody's going to put that in the chat for me, but startx39now.com is the site where you can go and see all of the clinical studies that have been done, all the different doctors, all the different labs, all the different facilities around the globe for the last 20 years. So when I apply this in the morning, the clinical studies, they picked CV7, cervical vertebrae 7, or below the belly button for the 2 locations for those participants in the studies, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. You have to have a controlled situation. But this patch, this X39 stem cell activation patch, you can apply anywhere you want. Thank you, Rhonda. You can apply this anywhere. It's going to work. And a lot of times, thank you all, everybody's putting it in now. A lot of times people are like, well, I had a lady message me today, my hip's killing me. Well, put it on your hip. It's going to work. I don't know if it's going to get rid of your hip pain, right? We know one of the common benefits is pain reduction, but I don't know if it's going to do that immediately for you. Sometimes people do experience pain reduction from the X39 on a specific location. And that's just from the elevation of the GHK copper peptide that's elevated with the patch. We know if you want immediate pain relief, you use the LifeWave. That's what it's designed for. It's the other 2-patch system in our line that David has invented. This is the 2-patch system. This is a 2-patch system. Both of them work to open up energy channels. This one specifically releases pain, works that with the polarity of the body to do that. But when I put this patch on, put it on in the morning, leave it on 12 hours, take it off, throw it away, or put it on my pet. People ask me all the time, what about my cat? What about my dogs? What about my cows? What about my horses? What about my llamas? Put them on all your pets. Absolutely. You can definitely patch your pet with the patch. They're going to get some of the benefits, obviously not very many, but people want to know why only 12 hours? If it's that great, why can't I wear it every day, all day? Well, it's much like a light. Remember I said we emit light? So our body's light that we emit is communicating with this patch. And I'll explain to you how that is in just a second. But it's much like a light that's on in my room right now here in my office. If I left it on all the time, it would get tired. It would burn out faster, right? It wouldn't be as effective as I need it to be every single night when it's dark. And so our bodies are the same way. We want to signal that increase in that copper peptide, right? Our stem cell activation, or maybe it's the, trigger that beta oxidation, whatever it is. We want that signal, that communication for that 12-hour period. And then we want to give our body a break. It needs a break from that, because otherwise it's going to get used to it and it's going to be like, nah, not interested. Not really interested in doing this anymore. Your cellular communication likes that 12-hour signal, that 12-hour off, 12-hour signal, 12-hour off. Why do we know this? Because they've done clinical studies and they've shown the effectiveness in that 12-hour on, 12-hour off. Plus, here's the part that you're wanting to know, what's in the patch. After about that 12, 14-hour mark, what's in the patch starts to dissipate. We're 100 degrees. If you live in Florida, you may be 105 or 110. It's hot down here. So our bodies are hot. And so that heat that is communicating with this patch starts to dissipate. The ingredients inside of it start to dissipate after about that 12 to 14-hour mark. So what's in the patch then? People will say, well, what's in it? If it's non-transdermal, if the Olympic board said there was nothing in it, then how is it working? Well, you see that white part? Embedded in that is what's called a crystal lattice structure. I'm from Indiana originally, so under all of our decks, we would have a lattice to hide the underneath deck part. And your dad would store all of his lawnmower and all that crap underneath there, right? At least mine did anyways. So that lattice structure, you can picture that now, okay? That is made up of, that's what David's invented. That is made up of a solution of stereoisomers. And that is a big word, I know, but it's molecules, specific molecules that form together in a very specific way to form this lattice. David has invented a proprietary blend of organic amino acids, oxygen, water, sugars that form together. That's embedded in the patch. we put the patch on the body, our body's heat or light that we emit reflects back a very specific wavelength of light into our body. And that wavelength of light elevates a peptide, depending on which patch it is. In the case of the X39, the stem cell activation patch, which took David 10 years in the lab to figure out how to do this, because it's pretty complex. But to figure that out, which, like I said, this has been on the market now about 4.5 years, this patch signals a peptide, GHK-Cu copper peptide. That peptide declines as you age. So when you elevate that peptide, you can go to reverseagingwithghk.com to learn all about the benefits of GHK. That have nothing to do with LifeWave. It's Dr. Lauren Picard's 50 years of clinical studies with the benefits of GHK copper peptide. But when you elevate that, what it does is it resets a third of your genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state. We all have genes, we know that. And this resets a third of them. And the beautiful thing is that genes express to other genes. So there is a compound effect of using this patch. And that's what I want to explain to you now, because I want you to understand. People always say, well, how long do I have to use this? You know, I've had chronic pain, inflammation, arthritis, all these issues for 20 years. Can this be fixed in 30 days? And I'm like, no, it cannot. Let's be realistic, right? This is going to be something that is going to reset your genes. One of those genes is going to mobilize your stem cells. Young, youthful, healthy, pluripotent stem cells. Your stem cells are going to start to go to work to repair and regenerate your body. So how long you use it is based on your age. So it's 1 month for every 10 years you are old to get to that full stem cell regeneration. Here's the deal. When you're born, you have an abundance of stem cells. Millions and millions and millions of them. Those are the cells that go to work to repair your body when you're little, right? You're a kid, you beat yourself up, you fall off your bike, you fall out of trees, right? You hurt yourself. So your stem cells go to work and they're repairing the body really fast, right? Well, guess what? Kids also have amazing energy, concentration, memory, focus. They sleep like babies, right? They have just amazing little lives because they have an abundance of stem cells. Well, as we age, our body has less and less stem cells that are active. By the time you're in your 30s, I don't know how many of you guys, got almost 200 of you on here. I don't know how many of you are in your 30s. I know I'm not anymore, biologically anyways. But by the time in your 30s, you have half of your stem cells that are active. The rest are there. They're just dormant. They're tired. They're wore out. They're like, girl, I have done all I can do for you. I'm done. I'm going to sleep. All right. And so your other half are like, I'm trying to keep up the load here. There's a lot going on in this body. Well, by the time in your 60s, there's less than 10% of your stem cells that are active. We know this from blood work. Obviously, we can test this. Again, clinical studies show the amount of stem cells that are active in the body. We know by the time you're in your 70s, there are none active at all. They're all dormant. They're all wore out. They're all tired, right? And so when you look at a stem cell injection, say you take out your blood, spin it, put it back in, you're going to try to obviously activate those stem cells. When you're spinning that blood, you're putting back in 70-year-old stem cells. They're still tired and wore out, okay? So the beautiful thing about this technology is it resets a third of your genes. And if you use this day after day, week after week, month after month, 1 year for every 10 months, or every, 1 month for every, years you are old, 10, whatever, 66 months, 77 months, 88 months. my brain's going way far in advance in what I'm going to say next. But you use this based on that age that you are to get up to that stem cell regeneration. Then what you'll see is that compound effect to where those genes expressing to other genes are literally resetting everything in your entire body back to its young, youthful, healthy state. And we can see that. We can see that in our clinical studies. We see old tissue, old organs becoming young and youthful again, functioning as if it were younger again, right? Dr. Eric Sanders had a heart attack at age 45, heart functioning as a 75-year-old. 1 year on X39, his heart's functioning as a 37-year-old. 1 year, nothing else changed, but using this, and his heart that had been functioning as a 75-year-old for 20 years was now all of a sudden functioning as a 35-year-old. Big difference. That is called regeneration. So this patch, if you use this day after day, week after week, month after month, and there's no time frame, you can use this for the rest of your life. I'm sitting here 2 years in, still using this patch every day. Why do I use it? I use it for prevention. I use it for vitality and longevity. Stem cells take things old and worn out and make them young and youthful again. The beautiful thing is this is your stem cells. Your stem cells are becoming young and youthful, healthy and vibrant. And so what happens is that helps the body to get into balance, into homeostasis, which is what you want. So the questions you're going to ask me tonight are probably going to be in reference to different types of disorders or syndromes or diseases or issues or things like that. And I want to remind you again that I can't talk specifically about those things because we don't have clinical studies on them. Obviously, we would claim to treat or cure something, and we're not doing that. So I will talk specifically about the organs impacted or the systems impacted, because that's how our clinical studies have been done based on how this technology will help that organ or that system or that cellular function, whatever may be going on inside of the body. People also ask me this, because I'm going to talk a little bit about some other patches. X39 stem cell activation patch, will this patch take care of everything? And I always tell them, yes, it will over time. Will that be 6 months, 7 months, 10 months, 12 months, 2 years? I know Bob Campbell was 2 years, 22 months, I believe, until it helped with all of the skin cancer he had all over his entire body that had to be burned off once a year, every year. So it took over 2 years to address that issue. So we use supportive patches to help support the different systems and organs that the other patches David has invented over the last 20 years to be able to help support other organs and systems in the body while this is doing its job, because you can't direct your stem cells. Like, so if you go to get a stem cell injection from your doctor and your doctor says, okay, it's my knees, and he puts us, in just maybe umbilical cord cells or something like that, donor cells into your knee, that's going to help repair that knee because he's injecting directly in. Obviously, that's invasive. That does have potential side effects and risks, right? Improper cell division, things like that, if it's a donor cell. And of course, the price tag is, I don't know, $5, $8, $10, $12, $25,000, depends on where you're going and what you're doing. But this, your body's stem cells, they know how to repair and regenerate, and they know exactly what order the body needs to do that. So you may say, you know what, I need my knee fixed. And I'm going to say, okay, we're going to address the inflammation in your knees, and then we're also going to address the pain for you. Not a problem. But in the meantime, your body may say, I'm sorry, Bob, your knee hurts, but your liver's shot. So we're going to go repair that and your kidneys and your spleen and your heart before we even think about repairing that knee that's bothering you from playing football for so long. Whatever it may be, you can't pick where your stem cells go because the body knows how to repair itself and in what order to do that. So we have to be okay with that process. If you just want to use X39, be okay with it taking whatever time it takes. There is no set time, okay? So what I like to do immediately with people is partner the X39 with the Eon. One of the first videos I heard David talk about is what I call the dynamic duo, which is these two patches. And he was explaining if you were to go get a stem cell injection in your shoulder because your shoulder hurts and you have range of motion issues and maybe you're trying to avoid a surgery or something, and the doctor injects 2 million stem cells in this area, of course this area is inflamed, it's in pain, right? You have problems there, things are going on. And so you inject 2 million, the inflammation is going to come and consume the majority of those stem cells. You're probably going to be left with about 200,000 stem cells. Do you want 2 million or do you want 200,000? You just pay $25,000 for that injection. You may want all 2 million of them. Well, the body doesn't work that way. Inflammation consumes stem cells. It's like a moth to a flame. So we use Eon, which used to be David's #1 selling patch before X39 was released, because of the fact that it reduces broad spectrum inflammatory markers in the body. Again, we can see that from clinical studies, bringing down the inflammation in the body, C-reactive proteins, cytokines, lipids, fibrinogen, things like that. This brings the body into a parasympathetic state, rest and digest, or fight or flight mode. Most people are in fight or flight mode. Their bodies go, 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 go nonstop. That's not an environment for the body to be able to repair and regenerate. So we like to use this, bring that inflammation down. At the same time, you're elevating your own stem cell production. So then your body has a better chance of a more rapid, dramatic repair and regeneration process. These two, the dynamic duo, is always where I start with people. Because of that, we all have inflammation in our body. If you've ever been in an accident, if you've ever had a surgery, if you've ever fallen, sprained your ankle, if you've ever eaten any of the toxic foods out there that exist in our world, right? There's inflammation. So this is a beautiful combination. And you will hear me here in just a second. I'm getting ready to open up this chat to look at all your questions. You will hear me say, we are going to start with X39 and Eon. For everything you ask me, it does not matter. I'm going to say X39 and Eon. And then I will tell you one possible other supportive patch, or maybe two, that could help benefit that situation as well. Always here first, always. So with anyone and everyone you're talking to, if you want to start here and just here, that's perfectly fine. But if you start here, everyone knows they have inflammation. This can help reduce some pain as well too. And this can help speed up your progress because your body's not consuming its own stem cells. And especially for those of you that have dormant cells, all of them gone, right? In your 60s, 70s, and 80s, you want to have the best results as fast as you can. Okay, so let's look at some of our questions. All righty, let's see here. I think I went back a little too far. Okay. Oh, thanks, Sylvia. I didn't know that. 2 people lost their voice. It must be the red tide. Okay, so do the patches contain polyethylene glycol? No. So we are a 3M hypoallergenic patch, class 1 medical device, aka Band-Aid. Wearing X39 and 49 for 5 months. All of a sudden this past week, my fingernails are splitting. One of my big toes has a groove in it. Does it mean I'm not absorbing iron? I do not know, honestly. Not being your doctor, I would not know how to know. Obviously, yeah, diet would play a big part in that, things that you're consuming. So the patches would not cause that. If anything, we see, I see, my nails have grown so fast. I like to get my nails done, get that manicure every couple of weeks, and I can't go more than 2 weeks. So the patches definitely do not cause splitting or breaking of nails. So I would have to ask your doctor, look more into dietary, what's going on with you. Can you put a fresh patch on your cat with kidney problems instead of used patch? You can definitely do that. I would just do the X39. We don't have a patch that increases appetite, but you can definitely do that. It's not going to hurt them. We just typically say, take yours off and use it on them, but it cannot hurt them. Just make sure you're only doing that during the day. If you're going to use a full patch, and it may make them have more energy, they may be more active, things like that. So just kind of judge. It depends on the pet, you know, and depends on their size. I mean, if you got a 120-pound lab, that's like a woman, right? So you can definitely do that. If you've got like a 5-pound peekapoo, probably not. I would do the patch that you've used yourself and then put it on them. I'm not for sure what that question was. Any other patches to use other than X39? So with having the care just under the foot, so I would use the Alavita. Alavita is a patch that helps a lot of things. It reduces oxidative stress and inflammatory stress in a different way than Eon. This signals a peptide in the liver. This patch signals a peptide in your brain, in the pineal gland. So I would use this. It's for the skin. So anything to do with the skin, think of lines, wrinkles, circles, spots, you know, like your eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, things like that. I would use the Alavita as well. This is a nighttime patch only. Wilson's disease is inherited, causes body to accumulate copper in the body. So you would have to check with your doctor. Obviously, I'm not your doctor, so I can't make that 100% recommendation. We know that people do use the patches that have different types of hereditary gene, you know, mutations, disorders. Thinking specifically of a child with Down syndrome. I know this is not the same thing. But Yvonne was telling me this weekend that, he had a fidget thing he'd have to use every single day, and he couldn't get a job because of that. Couldn't put it down. Now here he is 2 weeks later. He doesn't use it anymore, and he got a job at the Salvation Army, I think it was. He's working a couple days a week, and he's able to be more present and things like that. So, and obviously Down syndrome is inherited. So I can't say as far as the copper, with his specific Wilson's, but this does not increase your copper. This patch elevates GHKCU, which is a peptide, copper peptide. It's different. And so that elevation of GHKCU, I'm reading the next one. Your GHKCU declines as you age. So this elevates it again, activates it again. So just check with your doctor for sure for your specific condition, of course. Okay, so you have someone that was an addict, missing a gene, can't make glutathione. Okay, so glutathione patch would definitely help, absolutely, because they can't make it. Glutathione is a master antioxidant, immune booster, and detoxer. And so this actually signals a peptide in the peptide in your liver to do that. So I would definitely use this patch. And as far as genes go, obviously, like I said, we know that this resets a third of your genes, and those genes express to others. Just the X39 alone elevates your glutathione level by 30%. So I would use these two for sure. And obviously, always Eon as well, too. When you look at cells and cell-to-cell communication, inflammation is a key reason why those cells are not communicating correctly. Obviously, then we look at the mitochondria, the energy in the cells for the cell communication as well, too. So obviously, Energy Enhancer is awesome. Thank you. 1 month for every 10 years you are old. You're awesome, Andrea. What patches would you put on someone with breathing problems? I would do X39 and Eon and Energy Enhancer for sure. The different patches. Yeah, so I'm not going to go into all the patches just because we don't have time for that tonight. You can go to startx39now.com. David does a quick 30-minute video where he hits a highlight on every single patch. The person that invited you can also send you what we call our patch summary sheet. And it has a small paragraph on every patch to explain what those are too. But you can definitely wear 2 patches at once. We recommend it. So X39 and Eon, put them both on in the morning. Absolutely. Wear them 12 hours, take them off, throw them away. If you have pain, muscle pain, things like that, then put your LifeWave on that location. You can also use carnosine. Carnosine is for helping with muscle, building lean muscle mass, recovery, repair of the muscles as well. So that's another fantastic patch. And X49 works great for helping build lean muscle mass and recovery as well, too. So any of those 4 patches would be amazing. And you can wear them all 4 at the same time. When Laura and I met David for the first time 2 years ago, he stood up and we asked him, David, what patches do you wear? And he said, well, right now I've got on 12. And we're like, wait a minute, there aren't 12 in the company. You don't have 12 patches. He only had 11 at the time. He's like, I know, I got on some experimental patches right now. I'm not going to tell you what they are. But obviously we know that X49 was one of those because that was a patch that he invented shortly after, or shared with the world shortly after clinical studies after that event. Toe fungus, when you look at fungus in the body, you definitely want to detox the body. You want to reduce the inflammation in the body. So X39 Eon glutathione. If I get up at 4 a.m., do I put the glutathione patch on at 4 p.m. or wait till I go to bed? So you can do the patch any 12-hour window you want. Each patch has its own 12-hour window. So if you want to put on X39 and Eon at, 4 a.m. when you get up and go about your day, and then you want to put the glutathione at noon and you take it off at noon or midnight, whatever you want to do. You can play around with that with whatever schedule works best for you. But glutathione is a patch that you can definitely do at any time, day or night. X39, 49 Energy Enhancer, we know need to be the wake hours, your normal daytime hours that you're awake. If you stop using the patches, what happens? Do you lose what you've gained? That's a great question. All right, so let's talk about regeneration. An easy way to explain that is degeneration. Your body is degenerating every single day, right? That's the aging process. the breakdown of the cells. We call it apoptosis or autophagy in the body. We have cell death and the body ages or degenerates, which is why you see those degenerative diseases, right? The heart disease, the cancer, the diabetes, the Alzheimer's, dementia, right? Those top 5 things. So when we look at regeneration, cellular regeneration, regeneration of organs, of tissues, the body does that anyways, right? Like you're a whole new person every 7 years. You're always turning over new cells, liver, kidneys, those organs are regenerating all the time. But as we age, they do that less and less efficiently because they don't have the proper stem cells, right? They don't have the proper cells to do that in their body. And so when we use our patch, I say, get to your full stem cell regeneration. If you're in your 60s, Pam, so you've used the patch 6 months. All right, now we got all your stem cells woke up. They're all like, hey, I'm here, I'm young, I'm youthful, let's go do this, right? You're going to have benefits over those first 6 months. I don't know, maybe you'll have better sleep, more mental energy, clarity, concentration, focus, pain reduction. Maybe you'll, have digestive issues gone. Maybe you'll have better immune system. Maybe your cardiovascular function will improve. I don't know. Those are all things we see from our clinical studies, of course. But when you continue to use the patch, or even up to that point, let's even say up to that 6-month point, whatever has been regenerated, stem cells take old cells, old organs, old tissue, and make them young and youthful and new again. This is the reverse process to me. It's what it looks like on my screen. Go back, younger, okay? And so that's regeneration. When you stop patching, so say you've used it 6 months and you're like, okay, I'm using 6 months, I'm good. Everything's fixed, I feel amazing. Then your body will just start aging from that day forward. You don't turn to a pumpkin overnight. It's not all lost like this. This is not a blood pressure medication where if I don't take it, my blood pressure's through the roof. It doesn't work that way. If you Google regenerative medicine, David holds over 70 patents in the area of regenerative medicine, stem cell technology alone. He owns over 130 patents total. Maybe 150 by now. It was 130 back in August last year. He's always gaining new patents because of the things he's inventing. So this is regenerative medicine. Regeneration says we're going to go back, regenerate, repair, rejuvenate, restore, reverse the functionality. We can see in our clinical studies that organs are functioning younger than they were before the patch. You can see that on your blood work. You get your blood work and you get your, CBC, your CMP, you're looking at your lipids, you're looking at whatever it is. And you got these numbers that are elevated, things aren't functioning correct, right? You guys need to get your blood work done from your doctor, I'm sure. You go back 6 months later, 12 months later, and your doctor says, whoa, your kidneys are functioning better. Your kidney levels went back into the normal range. Oh, look at your liver panel. This looks so much better. Wow, your EKG looks so much better. What are you using for your what are you doing? Are you taking supplements or what is it? That's because of regeneration. The longer you use the patch, the more benefits you will gain. Remember, if you're in your 60s, you're just getting started with that real regeneration at that 6-month point because your stem cells are now all active. When we look at that 12-month point, we're looking at serious age reversal. Like we can see, right? Laura's 60. Her cellular age shows her in her early 30s. I am 40, almost 49. Mine shows me in my mid-20s. How? Because I'm still patching. Why? Because I'm all about longevity and vitality and prevention, right? Laura and I, neither one had anything wrong with us before we started patching. Health-wise, no diseases, symptoms, issues, no medications, none of that. We're here for the long game, right? We want to prevent those things and we want to keep our body young and youthful and healthy and vibrant in a non-invasive, simple, easy, effective, and affordable way. I have wanted stem cells for 22 years. I've known the power and benefits of stem cells, but that price tag, right? I couldn't warrant that for myself personally at that time, all over these years, because I've utilized that for my children. I banked both of my kids' cord blood when they were born in the event that they would ever need that in the future. And I ended up doing over 10 years of stem cell therapy with my daughter in and out of the country at $25,000 a pop. So that expense went to her, even though I always wanted to have stem cells for myself, because I know what they do. I know the power of stem cells in general, right? These were obviously going to be donor, right? Umbilical cord cells. So using your own is genius. It's so amazing what happens to people and their quality of life when their body starts to repair itself. Can't put a price tag on that, but it is less than a cup of coffee a day. So you get to keep your benefits, Pam. How do you recommend a patch with X39 and Eon? Stick it on your body every day, both of them in the morning when you get up, and take them off 12 hours later. Make sure you stay hydrated. Lots of water. Half your body weight in ounces. Talked to a lady today. So how many ounces do you drink a day? She goes, 60. I'm like, great, you weigh 120. She goes, no, honey, I'm well over 200 pounds. I said, you're severely dehydrated. Have your body weight in ounces every single day. That's how much water you should be consuming. If you're drinking coffee or sodas, wine, alcohol, beer, whatever, you're dehydrating yourself. You need to compensate with an extra glass of water per cup of coffee or per glass of wine. Hopefully you're not drinking a pot of coffee or a bottle of wine every day. I can't speak directly on cancer, just for obvious reasons. So when you look at getting the body in the balance, you definitely always look at using X39 and Eon. Glutathione is amazing. I don't know if you guys have read Suzanne Summers' books or seen her. She talks very specifically about LifeWave in 4 of her books and talks about her journey with healing herself with breast cancer using the glutathione patch. So if you'd like to hear more from her, maybe not, if you guys remember Three's Company, talk to your upline, your sponsor, or whoever invited you, Maria, if you're a guest, and they can send you some videos or send you some information. We have a Telegram channel with over 3,000 recorded testimonials from people, and many people have obviously had or going through cancer and have used the patches. We just can't say anything specifically. There's no set patch that you have to use for that. It would be definitely, you have to speak with your oncologist. But we do have people that have shared their personal experience and testimonial. Marcy Preble, who's in our upline, obviously being one of those people. There is no X39 Eon bundle, so I'm not for sure what bundle you're talking about. We do have an X39 X49 bundle that's been out for about 1.5 years now. When you look at the liver, I would definitely use X39 Eon and glutathione. Glutathione is amazing for people when we have different types of liver issues. This signals a peptide in the liver. This signals a different peptide in the liver. So I would use those patches if you're looking at improving the liver. But we do know that all of the YH series, so your carnosine definitely helps the liver. And we know Alavita does too, because we can see it from clinical studies. Not that you have to use all of them, but I'm just saying those are your option suggestions. And there's liver again. Perfect. Okay, so what's HBP? Tell me what HBP is. Maybe high blood pressure, I'm guessing. So if it's HBP, then definitely X39, X49, we see reduces the systolic and diastolic in the first 60 days. But yeah, X39, Eon, carnosine, those are all beneficial for the heart. And we see that from our clinical studies too. GSTP1 for glutathione transport, high intercellular glutathione, but I can't transport it out of the cells. That's a great question. I don't know that answer, Joseph, honestly, or Josephine. I do not know the answer. I can ask for you. That would be something I need to save that question. I've never been asked that, but I will ask. I'm going to save that real quickly to my notes section, and I'm going to send an email tomorrow to corporate. So Josephine, whoever is in your upline, that's an SPD. Okay, so find an SPD, because I know all the SPDs. So ask if you don't know, upline senior presidential director, and they will communicate with me and I can give that answer back. So check with them. Does glutathione have a history of making one feel a little nauseous? So glutathione is no, it doesn't. I'll say that. But it is the master antioxidant, master immune booster, and master detoxer. So when you put the patch on, this patch elevates your own glutathione level. Glutathione goes to get rid of toxins in the body. Antioxidants neutralize free radicals. So we're neutralizing these toxins, these free radicals in the body in order to eliminate them. If you feel a little nauseous, that may be a byproduct of that detoxification, not of the patch, but of your body detoxing. Not going to say that's 100% for sure. That is not common. We don't say that is a side effect of using the patch. I've been using the patch, never felt nauseous one time. I know Laura's shaking her head. Nope, not either, right? So it's not something that we would say that is common. I would ask, make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Are you using glutathione daytime? Are you doing nighttime? If you find are you using it every other day or maybe once or twice a week? Those are all questions that I would want to know the answer to see, what you could do different, maybe use it day instead of night or vice versa. Obviously your water intake, make sure you're using Eon as well too, reduce the inflammation in the cells, helps as well with different types of symptoms like that. So can you wear several? You don't need to wear more than one patch at a time unless there is something that is a immediate, we call acute injury in the body. So that second patch is going to be about that 20 to 30% more effectiveness. But when you say you have a concussion, obviously that's something you just happened. So if it was my child, which my child had a sprained ankle from basketball, I immediately patched his ankle, his entire foot and everything with 3 X39, 3 Eon, and 3 carnosine. So if it was my kid in that situation, there would be 3 39s, 3 Eons, and 3 carnosines all around that head, back of the neck, wherever, right? Because that's an acute injury, and I want to address that quickly. So when someone has a surgery, same thing, acute injury, you can double or triple patch that area for a few days. 3 to 5 days. That's what I did with my son. The orthopedic doctor said it's a bad sprain. You're going to be on crutches for 2 weeks. Come back and see me in that 2-week period. 24 hours later, he's off the crutches. 7 days later, he's back on the court and dunking. At that 2-week mark, the doctor's like, we can't, where's the sprain? Like nothing's here. How did this happen? Yeah, we're using these patches. He's 18 years old. He's got plenty of stem cells. This ramped him up, right? So that's what I would do. Okay. The 25-pound dog, I would use the X39 and the Eon. Definitely. And if they're in pain from the disc problems, then you could use the LifeWave or AccuLife. LifeWave and AccuLife are identical. I always joke around. I say, when my husband's being a horse, you know what? I'll put the AccuLife on him. When he's behaving, I'll let him use LifeWave. So this was created for horses. I don't know. I find it funny. Laura's laughing. I don't know the rest of you. Doc Cunchy's up there is laughing at me. So AccuLife and LifeWave are identical. They both eliminate pain on the spot. You put on the actual location of the pain. So if it's the back, white right, tan left, right? Like I talked about earlier. You can use either one. You just can't have something licensed for pets, licensed for people. But that's what I would do if it was my pet. What's the difference in a new patch and a used patch? A new patch works and a used patch doesn't. So what happens in the patch that causes it to lose? I don't know if you heard me in that explanation in the beginning, but because we're about 100 degrees, after about that 12 to 14 hour, that lattice structure inside starts to dissipate. So it's no longer able to communicate with your body. So not effective. It's just the way it's designed. It's designed to work 12 hours on, 12 hours off. That's it. This is not a transdermal patch. So this isn't a pain patch or hormone or birth control nicotine patch that you put on and leave on for days or weeks on end. You're very welcome. Thank you, Alita. That's something I can definitely, talk further about, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm not his doctor. So instructions indicated the use of patches 1 to every 3 days. What's the best frequency? So here's the thing with the carnosine, it says in the book 1 to 3 days. Glutathione probably says 1 to 3 days a week. So these are big antioxidants. So with glutathione, I definitely agree a couple times, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, depending on your health situation, what's going on with you. Because it's a big antioxidant, master detoxer, right? It's going to detox stuff out of your body that does not need to be there. If you've never done a detox before, it's like driving a car and never changing the oil. It's going to be in trouble, right? After 20 years of no oil changes, it's probably not going to be very efficient. That's your body right now. So I would start slow with the glutathione. Yes, we're being very bold here. Blunt, that is you. Toxic, not functioning correctly. So glutathione starts slow. Carnosine was created initially. It's a big antioxidant too to glutathione, but it was created initially for athletes, for building lean muscle mass and recovery and repair from workouts. So it says in the booklet to use it 1 to 3 days a week, every third day or whatever, second or third day, because they anticipate you not being an athlete, working out, building lean muscle mass every single day. So if you go for a walk or exercise or whatever, it's not going to hurt you if you don't work out. You hear David talk about this. We highly recommend you move your body. That is key to longevity. People that don't exercise die sooner. Fact. Can't cut that out. It's just what it is, right? Obviously, everyone that dies gets a little detailed report and it goes in a database and they spit out all this information. Exercise is a key component, but there's a lot of benefits to carnosine. Brain, anything to do with the brain, balancing left brain, right brain hemisphere, improving cognition, communication, executive functions, processing time. How many people do you know that could have processing time like this? Like, I want to put everybody I know on carnosine. Let's have conversations like this, right? That's how my brain works. I use carnosine every single day. Every day. I do exercise. I don't exercise every single day, usually, but I've always been into exercising, fitness, taking care of myself, but you don't have to be to use the carnosine every day. So definitely you can use this one daily. X39 every day. Never miss a day. Eon, never miss a day. Absolutely not. But you can definitely do, once, twice, 3 times a week on the glutathione because it does stay elevated in your body for a 24-hour period. You don't have to use it every single day. If you're healthy, use it every day. The oldest people on the planet have the highest level of glutathione. If you Google the blue zones, there are 5 blue zones. I was in one in Costa Rica last year. David likes to take the SPDs on those. We're going to Sardinia later this year in August, which is another blue zone. There's one in Greece. I'm hoping to hit that one next year. Honestly, there's one in Loma Linda, California. Doesn't matter to me if I go or not, but maybe will. And then the other one's in Okinawa, Japan. That's going to be a haul, but I'm up for it. So those are your 5 blue zones. The oldest people on the planet have the highest level of glutathione in their body. Kids do too. So your husband gives plasma and saw the patches on him, went panicky and wouldn't let him give plasma. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I would say, no, I can give plasma if I'm on 15 prescription medications and you don't care, but you care if I'm on a non-transdermal patch? No, doesn't work that way. Give me my money for my plasma. I've never donated plasma, but I know kids that used to do that in college all the time. Victoria's laughing. She agrees with me. You can donate plasma when you're using the patches. What alternating schedule would you suggest for glutathione, carnosine, SB6 each week? They're used. Recommended, not omens. I figured that. Okay, so I don't have specific omens. Yeah, so definitely X39 every day, Eon every single day. Like I said, glutathione, every other day, every third day. And then I use carnosine day and SB6 daily. Can you use X39 in the morning, Eon at night? Yep, you sure can. If you're someone that can't shut your brain off, put that Eon below your belly button. We call that the triple warmer spot in acupuncture, and it helps with that calm, relaxed, shut the mind off. Also, get off your phone. You guys are on here now. When you hop off in 4 minutes, don't get on the phone. Don't get on the computer. Stay off the phone before bedtime, at least an hour. Shut all that stuff off and let your brain come down. Have a conversation with somebody in the house or read a book. What patches would you recommend for someone with gluten issues, celiac issues, digestive issues? X39, Eon, glutathione, SP6 would be fantastic because it works amazing with your endocrine system and your organs, specifically your intestines. Activated charcoal, nullify the patches? No. Activated charcoal is going to work to get rid of those toxins, clump them together, take them out of your body, right? Like zeolite, those types of binders. So it will not, definitely will not The patches activate peptides. Peptides are chains of proteins in the body. This is cellular communication. Okay, light, the body's light communicating, and that happens inside, right? Literally at the speed of light. You don't even get to see it. So activated charcoal won't have anything to do with that at all. But that's a great question. Any concerns about copper acidity when using the patches? Nope, does not elevate your copper level at all. David actually recommends that we have some type of copper in our diet every day. I prefer dark chocolate, 2 grams of dark chocolate a day, make sure my copper level is in check. Chlorophyll, I love chlorophyll in my water, a couple drops of that, 18 actually, gives you 2 grams. It tastes like mint. It's really yummy and green. Or you could eat liver. I'm going to vote no for that. So what about hardening, whitening of the skin? X39 Eon Aloe Vita, for sure. Energy patch. Okay, so the energy in patch does and can increase the cortisol level in your body because of increasing, triggering that beta oxidation, that fat burning. So that is definitely something that you can look at in our clinical studies. It's a small amount. It's not significant. It's not going to throw somebody into like a stress, fight or flight mode or something like that. But if they have some type of adrenal issue, it's something they can definitely talk to their doctor about. Oh, the aloe vera. If she gets up at 4 a.m., then put it on at 4 p.m. Yes, absolutely. So what patches give you such smooth skin? Okay, so X39, Eon, glutathione, carnosine, and aloe vera at night. So no, what do you call that? Filters? No filters on my Zoom. This is me. That's Laura, right? We had lunch together last Thursday. We hang out all the time. This is what we look like because we've been using the patches for 2 years. And we use the aloe vera day and night cream. And I have 1 minute. Oh, good. You can see improvement already. Cholesterol went down. Thank you guys for sharing your testimonials. That's amazing. Yay. Make plenty, can't transport it out of the cells. Yeah, I need to ask. I've never been asked that before. That's a great question. Ooh, heavy metal toxicity. That's not good. You definitely need to do heavy metal detox. Hopefully you're working with a practitioner to do that. Heart aneurysm growing. Want to know if you would suggest to reduce the size. So obviously I don't know that answer. I can't make that claim for sure. Definitely talk to your doctor, Daniel. Show him the information on X39, X49, the Eon and carnosine. I would show him the information on those. Those are the 4. If you look at the Zoom I did with Dr. Mario, who's a cardiologist, and Dr. Pamela, who's an acupuncturist, we did a Zoom back in February. It's on my YouTube channel, Dr. Staci, DR STACI. And we did a deep dive into the cardiovascular system as far as looking at those 4 patches and how they would benefit. So that could definitely help you maybe for something to share with them from a cardiologist. Dr. Mario is actually getting ready to do clinical studies in his practice using the patches for different things like carotid artery and AFib and different types of stuff like that. So be excited to see what happens from those. Okay, you guys, we are out of time. So I appreciate all of your questions, all of your comments. If you didn't get your question answered, I apologize. Please make sure that you get back with a person that invited you. They are connected to someone that does have answers for you in the upline. We are all connected together. We're all here to work together and help each other. So thank you all for being here this evening. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you all again next Tuesday. Bring your questions back. I'm happy to answer more questions again next week. So thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic evening.